Welcome to Healthy Births, Happy Babies, where we share tips, tools, and stories grounded in natural childbirth and parenting principles, so that instead of feeling overwhelmed and confused during this exciting time in your life, you feel safe, supported, and empowered in your childbirth and parenting journey. And now, here's your host, Dr. Jay Warren.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Healthy Births, Happy Babies. I'm Dr. Jay Warren. I'm the Family Wellness Chiropractor and the Wellness Care Coordinator here at the CAP Wellness Center. And today, I'm bringing you a very unique and very inspiring story. MARIE CHEN is here to share her innovation of the Embrace. The Embrace is a device that was developed specifically to save lives, to save premature babies in third world countries. And it's an amazing blend of technology and a humanitarian project to save babies around the world. It's amazing. I saw her TED Talk. She's agreed to come on and share about what she's done, what she's doing, and how you might be able to help as well. But before I bring Jane on to the show, I want to make sure that I thank the CAP Wellness Center, who makes this podcast possible for you. The CAP Wellness Center in Encinitas, California, has assembled an incredible team of fully certified holistic healthcare professionals that offer the very best in prenatal, postpartum, and pediatric wellness services. We offer acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, yoga, lactation support services, and a wide variety of birth education classes to ensure that you are fully able to experience the power of birth. And now let me introduce MARIE CHEN to you. MARIE CHEN is the co-founder and CEO of Embrace, a social enterprise startup that aims to help 20 million premature and low birth weight babies born every year through low-cost infant warmers. The Embrace infant warmer costs about 1% of a traditional incubator and is estimated to have helped over 200,000 babies already. Most recently, Embrace Innovations has launched a new line of baby products for the U.S. market called Little Lotus Baby, which uses NASA-inspired technology to keep babies at the perfect temperature so they can sleep better. And they are using a Tom's Shoes model. For every product sold, a baby is helped in a developing country by the Embrace infant warmer. Prior to the Embrace, Chen worked with nonprofit organizations on healthcare issues in developing countries. She spent several years as a program director of a startup HIV/AIDS nonprofit in China and worked for the Clinton Foundation's HIV/AIDS initiative in Tanzania. Jane has been a TED speaker, and in 2012, she was named as Young Global Leader by the World Economic Forum. So with that, let me switch over to my conversation with MARIE CHEN. All right, Jane, welcome to the podcast.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's gonna be a great conversation. I was really excited to have you on because in finding out more about your story and having watched your TED Talk, it's just a really interesting concept, an interesting project that you're really impacting the world. So in advance, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing, and I also am excited for you to share your story so that other people can learn about it and get involved as well.
Great. Sounds good.
Well, as I read your bio when we first started and introduced you to the audience, you're the co-founder and the CEO of Embrace. And this is just a really innovative product and also making a huge difference. But before we go into exactly what the Embrace is, tell us how you even got the idea for it. What inspired you?
Sure. So I started Embrace about 8 years ago. I was actually a student at Stanford doing my MBA. I took a class at the design school, which brings together students of all the different graduate programs to try to develop low-cost technologies for people living on less than $1 a day. And the challenge posed to my team at the time was to build a baby incubator that costs less than 1% of the cost of a traditional incubator, which in the U.S. is about $20,000. So my team started traveling to, places like Nepal and to India, and we realized there are 15 million preterm and low birth weight babies born every year around the world. And one of the biggest problems they face is staying warm or regulating their temperature, which is the primary function of an incubator. But oftentimes, as we went to hospitals in these countries, they would have donated incubators that were just sitting there completely idle, not being used at all, because there was no electricity to power them.
Wow.
And no one was trained on how to use them. If something broke, there were never spare parts for replacement. So there were so many issues that were leading to these machines just not being viable in these settings. So coming back to Stanford, we realized what we needed was a solution that could work without a constant supply of electricity, and that was simple enough to be used by a mother or midwife in a village setting where many of these babies are dying. In fact, one of the biggest aha moments for us was meeting mothers. I remember the first mother I met in a village in South India had given her birth to her baby 2 months prematurely, taken her baby to a village doctor who said, you need to go to a city hospital so your baby can be placed in an incubator. But that hospital was over 4 hours away, and this woman did not have the means to get there. And so her baby died as a result of that. And I have heard dozens of similar stories since then. And that really led us to the realization that we needed something that could be used in a village setting. So that led to the creation of Embrace. It looks like a little sleeping bag for a baby. The core technology is a pouch of a wax-like substance called a phase change material. That sits in a little compartment in the back of the sleeping bag. And what it does is it maintains, once you melt it, it maintains a constant temperature of 98 degrees for up to 8 hours at a stretch, after which you can just reheat it, and it can be reheated thousands of times. So it's a really simple, cost-effective way to regulate the temperature of a newborn without the need for constant electricity.
Was that technology, was that substance created specifically for this product, or did you find it and then repurpose it?
No, we actually found it and then repurposed it. So the idea of using materials which change phases for temperature regulation is actually a very old concept and has been used for in buildings and regulating the temperature of cell phone towers. And so it was taking that concept and applying it to the baby incubator.
And these individual embraces, like, what is the cost relative to, say, the incubator you said is $20,000?
It's about $200 for our product, so about 1% of what a traditional incubator costs.
Wow. Wow. And then how are you distributing them? How are you getting them to those villages?
We work with governments, we work with private clinics, and we also work with NGOs around the world.
Okay. And
Yeah, and to date, we've helped over 200,000 babies in 20 countries.
wow, because your TED Talk that I watched, basically you started with such a powerful image, and that's of a little teeny premature baby being held in the palm of your hand. I mean, you forget how small these little ones are. And in a village setting, just being so vulnerable and not having access to it, this is something that's really going to be able to change lives. Obviously, it was saving lives.
Absolutely.
Now, and we also, or I mentioned in your bio too, about the Little Lotus Baby. Tell me how those things are woven together.
Sure. So about 2 years ago, after 4 years of living in India, which has 40% of all the world's premature babies, I moved back to the US. And at the time, it seemed like all of my friends were having babies. And I'd often hear this concern around how do I know my baby's at the right temperature, or if they're, too hot or too cold. And obviously, SIDS has been linked to babies overheating. So there's a lot of concern around keeping the room at the right temperature. And it's difficult to tell if your baby's actually at the right temperature. And meanwhile, I thought to myself, we've been working on a technology that keeps babies at the perfect temperature for the last, 6 years now. Surely there's a solution that we can create. And so that's how we decided to develop Little Lotus. It's a collection of smart swaddles, sleeping bags, and blankets that use a special fabric with a technology akin to the Embrace incubators. This fabric was actually first used in NASA spacesuits, and it absorbs or releases heat based on little microns of wax embedded right inside the fabric to keep your baby at the perfect temperature. And it's quite amazing because what happens and what we've heard dozens of times is that babies are sleeping better as a result of this because there are less temperature fluctuations. We get so many reports of moms writing us saying, my baby slept through the night for the first time, or my baby went from sleeping 30-minute naps to 3-hour naps. And we've heard this over and over again. And so it's a really, really cool product from the technology perspective. There's also some really great design features. We have a bottom zipper, so you can do a diaper change with the baby right inside the product. It's super easy to get babies in and out of, and this is a nuance you won't fully appreciate until you use the product. And then there's an amazing print we have called Touch Our Future, which is an artwork that contains the hand traces of moms and babies in 14 countries around the world. Many of them have been saved by the Embrace incubators. And in addition, we got the hand traces of the Dalai Lama, Malala, and about 18 Nobel Peace Prize laureates, in addition to celebrities like Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Heidi Klum, and many others. So it's just been a wonderful way for people to literally lend a hand to the cause. And it's a beautiful print that kind of reminds you of the global community behind this. But most importantly, Little Lotus has a one-for-one Tom Shoes inspired model. So for every Little Lotus product purchased here in the US, we help to save a baby in a developing country with the Embrace Warmer. And through this initiative, we hope to save 1 million babies over the next couple of years.
Wow. And where are the Little Lotus Baby products available?
They're available on our website at littlelotusbaby.com. We're actually totally sold out right now, but we're doing pre-sales and we're delivering the next batch of products in September.
Very nice. And is it, so going back to it, is the wax substance the same substance that was in the Embrace?
It is. It's just in a different format, but it's the web, and you can't tell it's in the fabric at all. Again, it's in microns. So if you touch this fabric, it's actually extremely soft and luxurious to the touch. In fact, many people comment on how much softer it is than other products in the market. So it feels wonderful, but it's got this magic behind it that is keeping you at the perfect temperature. In fact, I had sheets made out of this material for myself, and it's the most awesome thing. So hopefully we'll make like pajamas and sheets and everything else soon.
Right, for the winters when the sheets are that much colder.
Yeah, exactly.
And I assume they're machine washable.
Yeah, they're machine washable. You tumble dry low. The care of them is super, super simple. And yeah, it's been so encouraging because we just launched the product in December. So it was, a very new thing for us, and we weren't sure what kind of feedback we were going to get. But over and over again, customers write to us saying, we have put everything else aside, and this is the only product that we end up using. The other thing I'll mention is we have a corporate partnership program that's been really exciting for us, where we're partnering with companies who are gifting the Little Lotus to all of their employees who have a new baby. So Salesforce was the first company to participate in this. Ernst & Young just came on board. The skincare company Dermalogica is a partner, and we're hoping to recruit others as well.
Well, and is it the same approach of really the Little Lotus Baby? I mean, it sounds like an amazing product just in and of itself for parents, but really the fuel is it so the Embrace can be spread further?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, in and of itself, we believe it's an awesome product.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Yeah, but the original impetus for doing it was indeed to have that be a funding mechanism. I think the struggle that a lot of nonprofit models face is, how do you scale? How do you expand? How do you get to critical mass? And so when you look at models like Tom Shoes or Warby Parker, like what they've been able to do for their nonprofit partners is really amazing. In this case, it's a little different because we started as a nonprofit or doing work in developing countries for the first 8 years, and then we launched this product. And so I think in some ways it's even more authentic from that charitable giving perspective. But indeed, it's a way for us to fund the expansion of the infant incubators.
Right, absolutely. And you've done a lot of work with nonprofits. I say you've worked in China, worked in Tanzania.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I worked in China helping children orphaned by AIDS in villages in central China, and then also worked with the Clinton Foundation on their HIV/AIDS initiative in Tanzania. So this is just an area that I'm really passionate about, and it was through those experiences that I saw, number one, that, if you really put your mind and your heart to something, you are able to make an impact. We were able to help thousands of people through my work. But at the same time, I also witnessed many people who lost their lives because they weren't able to access medical care or technology. And it was really devastating to see that. And so, as I was doing that work, I decided I would make it a personal mission of mine to try to bridge this disparity I saw in healthcare between developing countries and the US through technology. And so when I got to Stanford and I learned of this design school class, I just jumped at the opportunity to take it. And for my co-founders and I, Embrace has never been just about this single product. Our vision is how do we create a platform by which we can create other products as well that helps to reduce infant deaths around the world.
Right. I mean, it's just such a beautiful marriage of technology and innovating that into a way that can just be a really impactful humanitarian project. I mean, all of the babies that you've saved, I mean, it just is so touching and just must be so gratifying.
It is, it is. And, one of the stories I often tell is about 4 years ago, we started working with an orphanage in Beijing that often had premature babies delivered to this orphanage. And about a day after we delivered our product, they discovered a 2-pound baby, premature baby that had been abandoned on a street in Henan province in central China. They took him back to Beijing, kept him in our infant warmer for about 30 days. He survived. I actually went and visited 7 months later and got to hold this little boy in my arms. And they told me it was the first time a baby of that size had ever survived in the orphanage. And then a few months after that, I got an email from a family in Chicago saying they had adopted this little boy and were traveling to Beijing to bring him home. So Nathan is now 4 years old. He lives in Chicago. He is vibrant and exuberant, and I love just keeping track of him because he's living testament to why we all do this work.
Yeah, a face to all the hard work you've put in all these years.
Exactly.
Well, tell people how they can, one, look at the Little Lotus Baby products, and then also the Embrace.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so Little Lotus Baby, as I said, is available on our website. It's at www.littlelotusbaby.com. So encourage you to check it out. We have some really cool prints that we just introduced a few weeks ago. We worked with a previous designer at Anthropology on those. And we love the product. So with every purchase you make, we save a baby in a developing country with the Embrace incubator. And you can also go to embraceinnovations.com to check out more about our work in developing countries.
Well, and for those listeners that might be interested in the corporate partnership program, they might be involved in a company and want to bring it there. How can they learn more about that?
Yeah, so I encourage folks to send an email to info@littlelotusbaby.com and we'll give you more information. But we have some standard materials that can be sent to HR departments within companies, and we have a really easy way of making it happen. And we've gotten just wonderful feedback. It's a great employee benefits. They love the product, and I think it makes the company look really great as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And all those links that Jane just mentioned, I'll make sure is in the notes in the podcast episode in iTunes, but then also on the web page that we'll dedicate to this episode. And, Jane, in our last couple minutes, I always love ending the interviews with two different questions. And the first one's for the moms. The moms listening to your story and what you're doing and just your experience that you've had with parents in the past. What's the one take-home message you'd love for them to hear and to take with them today?
I think for moms, it's really about just remembering that there is this global community of moms out there, and remembering that in the U.S. we're so fortunate and so blessed to have such wonderful medical care, but in many countries around the world, that's simply not even a possibility. And so as I was doing the research for Little Lotus, I would come across so many moms who would say to me, when I had my baby, I felt an instant camaraderie with every other mother in the world. And if I saw a child in need, I would do anything to help that child. And it's such a beautiful sentiment, and I think the love of a mother is the purest and most selfless form of love in the world, really. And so how can we come together as moms to help other moms around the world and to help those babies who are less fortunate?
Oh, that's beautiful. And what about the babies that might be listening? Some of the babies might be listening in utero as mom's waiting for them to come, or, they're laying on mom's chest as she's listening. Like, what's one little pearl of wisdom you'd like to whisper into their little ear?
I think it would be really similar, and I think it'd be around the fact that it doesn't matter how small you are or how big you are, but you can make a difference in this world. And everything we do, even the smallest effort we make towards making the world a better place, goes a long way. And so that's what I want all the babies in the world to hear.
Oh, that's beautiful again. Well, Jane, thank you so much for sharing your story. It is truly inspiring. It's really innovative. I love the technology aspect of it, but just the impact you're making in the world is absolutely incredible. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jay. It was wonderful to be on.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information about this episode and other natural childbirth and parenting topics, please visit us at capwellnesscenter.com or message us on our Facebook page with any questions you might have. We here at the CAP Wellness Center look forward to helping you and your family be as happy and healthy as you can be.